Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I'm filming my June wrap-up where I ended up reading 35 books. I don't really know how and why it happened, but it happened. We are here and I'm gonna try to speak a bit fast. But I did read all of my 10 books in my Spiffball batch under Covers with Cassidy, who's the official judge for the competition. I have the first vlog up right now. A second vlog is also coming. Might before this actually, so I don't want to use like time to speak about it like more here and like review them again, since I have like dedicated Spiffball vlogs for them. So what I would do instead is just mention them here and maybe share like a tiny bit about them, and then we move on to the other books I read in a month. So the first Spiffball book I ended up reading was Love Crafted, following a young girl who wants to enter the school and gets like an apprentice, and it has tentacles and it is queer. Then we have Regeneration by Cassie Gropeman. This one follows a girl who is secretly an elf, and then she needs to join this like band to join this mission, and then she heals which is why it's called Regeneration, and it's a lot about like found family and stuff, and it was very sweet. Then we have An Inheritance of Ash and Blood by Jamie Edmondson. This one was set in this world where basically a lot of countries are at turmoil with each other after conflicts over a long time. It's also a secret series to another series, and we have different characters on this board in this things that are happening. Then we have Dark Strider by Aaron Hodge. This is a progression fantasy where this dude from our planet comes to this other planet, and he has like the ability to like grow, and then he kind of joins these people and they train him, and he's like an otherworlder, which means a lot in this world, etc. Then I read A Nightingale Prince by Zach Bell, which follows this dude who finds out that he is part elf, or full elf maybe, and he inherits this house where he's basically a prince, and then it's also a queer romance. Yeah. Then I read Fragmented Fates. This one we followed different characters, like among them like a chief and a seer and a child, and they all like have connected paths. The seer especially like goes around telling people what they should or should not do for things he has seen in the future. There's a lot of like politicalness and stuff as well. Then I read Master of the Void by Van Raven. In this one, people in the world are tested for the magical abilities when they're at a certain age, and then our main character is told that he doesn't have any power when his father is the Archmage. It's a huge deal, and then we have two point of views where kind of this both happen to in a way, and it's really interesting of how it all comes together. Then we have Auto Still by Dean Bryn, and this one had like Selkies, and these two characters met that didn't initially really like each other, and then they work together. It is a queer romance as well, and one of the main characters is blind. I don't know how else to describe it. Then I read Grace Defend Us by Michael J. Hedayat, and in this one we have one of like the people finally got an apprentice ghost, and they go out to stop like these monsters. I really don't know how to describe it. And the last Spiffball book I read was The Mambo Wizard, Breakfast is Served by Giordano J. Lihaderna, and this one follows a wizard that makes breakfast food out of objects. He gets expelled from his like wizard school, and then he joins this band in a way that comes from outer space. And that was all the Spiffball books. Short like stuff that I now know about them, but again, check out my Spiffball vlogs for more thoughts. And now we're going to talk about the other books I read in a month. We only have 25 left now, so it doesn't seem as intimidating. In between all those, I did of course read some manga. So the first one I read was Demon Slayer Volume 13 by Koyoharu Goto Uge. This one follows Tanjiro, whose whole family gets killed by a demon, except his sister is turned into one, and then he goes out to find out a cure for demonism and becomes like a demon slayer, because then he can get close to them. And it's like different fights, different arcs, amazing characters. I love it a lot. I didn't read all of these one after another, but I thought we might as well just talk about them together. So I did reread Tehanu by Ursula Le Guin. The dog is tripping around a lot. I'm sorry. I don't know what she's doing. Then I also read for the first time Tales from Earthsea, and then also The Other Wind, which is the last one. So I now officially finished the whole Earthsea cycle. It's a bit bittersweet because I put it off for so long because I never wanted to be done. but it is a stunning series that I really, really love. It's one of my favorites. Sorry, I'm really looking at the dog here. Gigi. Duck. Duck. Daka. Now she's standing still. Either way, so obviously the first book, A Wizard of Earthsea, follows Gad, who basically goes to wizard school to learn magic and like the true language of this world. And then the world has evolved a lot, and we see different characters here in these books. And this one is kind of what happens after like the original trilogy, where we see Gad where it kind of ends up after everything in a way, and also the characters we've seen before. And in Tales from Earthsea, we have stories that's set before the Wizard of Earthsea, during the Wizard of Earthsea, and after the Wizard of Earthsea. Why, I don't know why I'm calling it the Wizard of Earthsea. I mean, for like the quartet, the trilogy. It was really interesting to see and follow different characters and how they live in this world. And I really like the exploration that we got in this one. And in this one, we kind of have everyone coming together after everything, and so on like one last adventure together. It was sad, it was bittersweet, but it was really nice to see them again and say goodbye to them. Now I have completed the whole thing, and I'm again bittersweet but happy, and it was an amazing ride altogether, and it's one I think I would like to revisit several times. Then I read Noragami, Volume 25 by Adachi Toka. You follow different gods, and then they kind of need to be believed in to exist. And then I also like can make souls into objects that are connected to them in a way. That was a really bad explanation. And then in the first one, in the beginning, we follow Priory, who can connect to both worlds because her spirit keeps leaving her body. And now we are like so far away from that I don't even know what the story is anymore. I honestly feel like I'm reading a different manga completely. I don't know really how I feel about it. I still love it, and I still love the concept and the characters, but I just don't know how I'm loving like the story itself right now. But I will keep reading it and read it until the end. Then I did my next vlog where I read booktubers' favorite books, and the next one I did was Cassidy, from Course with Cassidy. I will leave a link down below. So I'm not going to talk like too long about these either. Not that I do that with any book, but you get what I mean. The first one I read for that was Fireborne by Rosaria Munda, and this one follows these two characters that go to this kind of dragon academy, and they're going to fight in like this, what's it called, tournament to like determine like the leader of like commander something. They have like a certain name. And then at the same time, we live in a world after the revolution has happened. So they kind of put down like the old regime, and one of our main characters is in the family of the old regime. So it's kind of like a whole thing of where his loyalties lie. And it's really interesting, political intriguing, very, very fun. I ended up really, really liking it. Then I read Recursion by Blake Crouch. And this one was so much fun. I really loved it. And we just, I think, this world where people have memories in their brains that seems like they lived a different life, but they don't know why. And I really don't want to say more than that, because like it is connected with so many things in this world that you are like need to really grasp to get a hold of. And it was just mind-blowing and plot twisty and timely-wimely, and I loved it so much. I rounded it up to 5 stars, and it's like, it was so good. And Dark Matter is like more popular than this, so I actually already bought Dark Matter, and I really want to read it because I need to know how that can be as good as this one. I don't know, but I feel like they like within the same genre at least, and I feel like I will like that one. But it was really great. Then I read Red Sister as well as Great Sister, because Great Sister was the actual Cassidy fave. This one follows Nona, who joins this covenant. I can never say that word, like a place of nuns that some are trained to be assassins, and she is kind of like a chosen one in a certain role. And then there's like betrayals and training, and yeah, I didn't really love this. I didn't really love how they were written. Thought they were quite boring as well. Like the beginning was exciting, and then like a lot of the middle part was boring, and that's where it all happened. I know there's like that with a lot of books, but I was bored in the middle. I just like didn't love how it was told. Like kind of hard to follow for me. I just personally didn't have the best time with this. Yeah, they were like the unsuccessful part of that vlog, but the rest I really enjoyed. And I'm sad to say, but maybe Mark Lawrence is just not an author for me. This is the second series I read that I haven't enjoyed, but I feel like maybe some of the others are really different, so maybe I would like those more. I don't know. And in between all of those, I did start Chainsaw Man by Tatsuki Fujimoto, and this one follows a dude that basically can turn into this Chainsaw Man. That's like what it is about. The first one is just that happening to him, And then also he really wants to touch boobs, which is kind of like, it's weird if you think about it, like it's weird and pervy, but at the same time I think it's supposed to be humoristic. I'm not sure, but it was weird, but I know a lot of people has liked it, and I'm excited to continue, even though yes, it is weird, but I like weird manga, so let's go. I don't know what was happening here, but I took a break from that vlog to read Miss Ice Sandwich by Miyako Kawakami. This one is like a really, really short book of 92 pages. It follows this, I was gonna say kid, that is a bit obsessed with this ice sandwich lady at the supermarket. She looks a bit weird, I think. That's what people say. And then he's obsessed with her. And that's like the whole story. It's weird. Not like obsessed. He's just like really curious about her, I guess. It's a bit weird, but it was like, it was good. It had good reflections in it that I'm too dumb to understand, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Then I did continue the vlog with Along the Race's Edge by Rob J. Hayes. So this one is the first one in a series, and it follows a main character, Ascara, who is in like the pit after she was arrested after they lost the battle. And she's like also like a person that can read magic. Usually go to this magical academy, and we get like flashback to see how that was, as well as her in the pit and like wanting to escape. And then at the same time we have like a lot of foreshadowing in the text, where we have like them hinting to where she's in the future, which is a very different place than where she is now. And it's just very, very fun. I was so invested in the story, in this pit, and how it worked, and how it was just a perfect place to introduce this world, because like we had like a really isolated place, but clearly a vast world that now can be revealed as we go on, instead of revealing everything now, you know? And it was just very, very good. Very excited. I really loved it, and I gave like 5 out of 5 stars. And I love the main character, and I'm so excited to see like the developments. Thought it was a trilogy for some reason. It's a 5-book series, and I need the next ones now. Like now. And I'm so excited. I found something that like I'm so excited to continue with. Then I listened to audiobook of Rosie by Cecilia Aran, which is like one of the oldest books I own. It was like for a specific challenge in my TBR game, and now I finally can say I read it after all this time. And this one follows Rosie and what's his name? Alex. And they have been friends since they were kids, and then they are actually in love with each other, but they always keep missing like each other, and then they write letters and emails and stuff to each other over the years. So this is like what the story consists of. I actually watched the movie right after this, and like clearly they had to like condense it down a lot, but I still think it's a really fun movie, because I love Lily Collins and Sam Claflin as well. But yeah, I actually enjoyed the book. I was surprised how much I liked the story, how invested I was in the characters. I thought I would feel like it was super dragged out, but I didn't actually. I actually just enjoyed the story for what it was, and how these people just settled down in their lives, and like while they couldn't be together, they lived, and stuff happened to them, and they just like lived on. I'm like, dang, wish I had that energy. So I actually quite liked it, actually, much more than I thought I would, which I'm happy about for myself. Yay. I didn't read these one after one another, but there's no point to split it in one part, which is these are volume 19 as well as volume 20 by Priory. And this one is set in this world where beasts live like humans in a way, but they have had like a lot of conflicts between like the prey and the predators, or the carnivores and herbivores. I don't know how to say those words. Follow Legoshi, who is a grey wolf that is supposed to be like really scary and like but he's actually just a little softy and just falls in love with a bunny, and that's how the story starts out. Also with the student being murdered because they go to school. And then the story develops a lot from that. I'm like very much at the end. I think I have 2 volumes left, 21 and 22. I am absolutely terrified, but I'm also ready to finish it after reading it for like a billion years. But I had a good time. I'm scared. Then the last one for the Cassidy vlog was Ashes of the Sun by Janko Wexler. So this one follows 2 siblings that were separated when they were kids, and one of them kind of joined, what can I say, like the people who are controlling the world, etc. So she's like a magic wielder and is like training that, and then the dude kind of joins the rebellion, and they meet, the paths cross after all this time, and they see they are on different sides, but will they still work together? I don't know. And then it's also queer, which I really enjoyed. So was First Sister as well, and I think Along the Rage's Edge has some like vibe about that as well. Either way, I actually ended up liking this a lot. While I felt like the plot was really slow, I wanted more out of that. I wanted that to like blow my mind more. But like I really, really like the characters, and to like grow this world and like world build it. So I had a really good time with it, while though I wanted a bit more out of it as well. But I'm excited to read the rest of the trilogy, and I'm glad I finally read it. It was very good. Then I finished my reread of The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And this one, I don't know how to describe it, but we are set in this huge world where one of the kingdoms is like a queendom, where they basically look up to the queen because she's the one holding back the Dark One. And like that line always needs to continue because their blood is what holding the Dark One in their prison. And then there was like a battle 1,000 years ago they talk a lot about, and there's a lot of like politics and stuff going around and traveling in this world, and I don't really know how to describe the plot, but basically that's it. The Dark One is returning, so we need to stop it from different characters from different places, and it's this vast huge world. It's written very like, I was gonna say sophisticated, and just is a stunning book that I really love. And it was great to finish this reread. I am currently reading A Day of All Night. Hopefully we'll finish that in July. And it's one of my favorites. Yay! Then I read Tales from the Cafe Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This one is the second book in the series, which is like Tales, but it did kind of in a way, I was going to say connect a bit together, but not the same as in the first one. Now I need to read the third, and then the fourth is coming soon. I really like it. It's set in this cafe where you can travel in time, and then you need to drink up the coffee before it gets cold to get back to your own time, to your own place. But I need to do this in a certain way. There's like certain rules, and there's always like a lot of beautifulness to the stories of why these people are traveling in time. And I enjoy this a lot. I enjoy this basically as much as the first one. Want to just keep reading these stories set in this cafe. It's really cute. Then I read Given Volume 7 by Natsuki Kisu. Took a while before this one to come, when like I was done with Volume 6. It's been such a long time. But basically, there's these people starting this band, and everyone is gay. And it's actually quite sad, but we're getting a bit lighter tone here. I'm curious to see where the story will develop, because there's more volumes. Everyone is just gay. It's what I want in life. And I need to watch the anime done so I can listen to the music instead of just like seeing them play. Then I read The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This one was my Patreon buddy pick for May and June, so that's why I finally read it now in June. John Gwynne is like another author that I think maybe it's not for me. I read whole Faithful and Fallen series. I don't really love it. I didn't really love this. I just don't love how the story is written, while I think the concept is interesting. We set in this northern mythology inspired world, and the people here are in this world where like the gods basically, I was gonna say, had a battle and like ruin a lot of stuff. And then we have 3 point of views that is going out for different missions that I think is all hanging on together with like how the world has like changed, or like it's developing, or something's gonna happen in the world, and these 3 people will be, I was gonna say, in the center of this. And like I didn't just love how there was like no developments almost for like the point of views, and I personally didn't love how the world was built, because apparently I missed a lot, but maybe that's on me. I thought I would love it, but I just felt like I'm bored. For some reason this reminds me, I don't know if anyone agrees, but this reminds me of Mark Logrand's. Like, I know they're completely different authors writing, I mean they're writing the same genre, but the fantasies remind me of each other in a way, and I don't know how to describe that vibe, but that kind of vibe fantasy is maybe not the fantasy I like, even though I always assumed I like all fantasy. So I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing. I don't know how to describe it, but I didn't love it. I didn't hate it either. I just like felt like whatever about it. So we should see if I read a sequel. I probably will, but like how I will feel about it. Then I read Turning Darkness into Light by Marie Brennan. This one is the 6th and final book in the Memoirs of Lady Trent series, which basically follows this scientist who goes on these different expeditions to study the different dragons in the world. And in this one we actually follow her grandchild, and it is like in the series obviously, but it's like we follow different characters with a different plot, and I just loved this. I just loved the foundation of this, how we got to know a new character and like the plot. It was really like exciting, and I'm not saying that the other books weren't good, because this wouldn't have been good without those other books, but I think just my enjoyment of this was like the highest through like the whole series, and I had a really great time. So we finished it, and we are now starting our next series read along for all tiers on my Patreon. Yeah, I really thought it was a great time reading this whole series together, and I'm excited for our next journey. And I'm also excited that I finished it, because I'm glad I like stuck to it, because it's great to like just read through a whole series, you know, even though you read one a month. It was a really great time. So it was not terrible. I overall enjoyed the series a lot. Then I read Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Volume 4 by Dairo. So this one is set at this school that has the 7 wonders of mystery, and we have a main character that gets connected with Hanako-kun, who is connected to his toilet. It's a ghost there, and then they go around and like kind of fight spirits that have shown up at the school, and also like discovers other wonders of mystery, etc. It is a good time. I'm really enjoying like the sweetness of it, while at the same time like the chaotic and battleness of it. The battles, I was gonna say, and like just how weird it is, and it just have a really nice vibe. It reminds me a lot of Noragami, but like back when it was a different kind of series, which I enjoy a lot. Then I read The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie, which is the final book in the first trilogy in the First Law world. And this one, I didn't love the first trilogy overall. I felt like totally okay by the first one. The second one I didn't like at all, and this one I like more than the second one, but still I'm just like, what was the point of all the things that happened? What happened? What was the point of anything? Tell me. I don't know. It ended in nothing, and I'm just like, you think it's gonna pay off? Because like originally I thought like this like is the first trilogy, and obviously we will continue in the world. I just assumed that like it will wrap up like the first story, and since the next 3 are like standalone. So like, I don't know, it literally ended, I don't know how to say it, but it literally ended basically on a cliffhanger, and I'm like, what? How can we call this the first trilogy? I am so confused. It's more like not the first trilogy, it's just like the beginning of the series, but it's called the first trilogy. Then it seems in my head that the story should wrap up here in a way, like it will still continue, but it should wrap up some. Either way, I enjoyed some of the things that happened. Actually, there was just this one specific event that I loved. It was just very fun. Another thing that happened that I was surprised by, but overall just was bored. It was too long. I don't know how I feel. I hope I will like the standalones more, etc. But overall, just haven't loved the series a lot. Sad. Then I read The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi. This one was the Facing Gaze pick for the month of June, and it's set in this world where people are sorted into the color of their blood. The people with amber blood, they are like the strongest of the society. They're the ones who can wield magic and the ones controlling the world. And then a few years ago, or a couple of years ago, we had the people with blue blood stealing some of the amber bloods to like raise them to overthrow the ones with amber blood in the future. They were like the stolen, and we follow our main character as one of the stolen. And they were supposed to enter this competition and win it, because they will like get done like the lead roles in the society if they win this competition. Other stuff happens instead, kind of. I don't want to go into more, but I thought we would start with this competition and entering it. Apparently not, but it was exciting. I was actually really surprised of how much I enjoyed this, because it just was written really well. I think it came together really cool. I think the world was really interesting. I think the characters was really great. It is a FF as well. I had a really great time with this, and I want to savor a bit of my thoughts for the live show, which is coming maybe even before this video, I think, actually. And I overall just really enjoyed it and would recommend it a lot. And now I really want to read a sequel, but it hasn't come in this height yet, so I need to wait. And it's painful inside of me. So actually I had forgotten to update my list. I didn't read 35 books, I read 36, which is common for me. I always forget to write up something. So I randomly decided to read House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This one was a gift from Fiji, so thank you so much to her. And I had my eyes on it for a really long time, and then I just never picked it up, and then I finally got it, and I now have read it. For reasons. Basically, I knew nothing about the plot, obviously, but now I know. So it follows the family that feel like they're cursed, because they were like 12 sisters, daughters, whatever. And like, I think 4 of them has died, and they feel like terrible because they keep dying off, I was gonna say. And it starts off literally with like one of the sisters recently died, and then our main character thinks that she was murdered and is starting to investigate into this. And it's like a lot of other things going on in this that is a premise. But dang, I didn't see everything that was happening coming. I was like, what? But I felt really weird at that point. I was just like, why is this so weird? But then it is weird. It was supposed to be weird. It was supposed to feel weird because the things that were happening were weird on purpose. So it was a smart thing, because I was just thinking like, this doesn't make any sense, and it didn't, and it was supposed to not make sense, and I really liked that, and I really ended up liking it a lot. So I think I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars. I was surprised of how much I enjoyed it. I really liked like the airy, salty island we were on, and this isolated place where like these things were happening, and I always enjoy a setting like that. So I was pleasantly surprised of how much I enjoyed it. Yay. And the last thing I read for the month was Fence Rise, Volume 5 by C.S. Picot and Joanna the Mad. And this one is Volume 5 in the series. I think this came out in September, and I'm reading it now because I just put it off buying it because it was expensive. But it's set at this fencing school, follow this fencing team, and then one of them is like super good and started school because he has like a rival at another school. Our other characters like looking up to him and like being super annoying, and it was a terrible explanation, but basically imagine a fencing school and everyone is gay. That's what you need, and that's what I need in my life. So it is like just really sweet, and I also like read the 2 book adaptations of it, which I really adore as well. And I'm just gonna read this. I feel like at this point, when it's so long between each volume, I'm just like writing on and just like, I just want to see these characters be okay. It's a good time. Okay, that was all the 36 books I read in a month, almost 40 as in May. For some reason, trying to slow down, it's just not working out for me. Okay, but yeah, I thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a, I was gonna say a fencing emoji, but there's no fence thing emoji. Maybe like a t-shirt, a white t-shirt. There's nothing like that either. Why is this so hard? We take a sword. There's no sword, a knife, whatever, because they're fencing, you know? You should see me soon in a new video. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna go. Goodbye!